centuries ago, but only in 1927 for the first time that the scientists even suggested, and from then up to now, there's still a lot of things are still developing all the time. In fact, when you ask scientists, and talking about Brian Cox, I watched a couple of videos or a few videos of his of late, so in preparation of this subject, for instance, and sometimes he goes all over the world, Australia, wherever, New Zealand. So, and he goes and they ask him questions. And when he replies to the questions, it's not the only one. It's not to demean him as he is one of the, it's not to demean by any means, because he's one of the leading scholars in the world. But when you ask him 10 questions, he'll barely reply to 8. Why? First, because he's honest. And secondly, because he knows these things develop all the time, constant development. If he says one thing today, tomorrow could be in a few months, in a year's time, in 10 years' time, it may change. So, but something that I would like to share with you, and it's extremely important. I mentioned to you one of the previous videos that the Egyptian scholar, he used to be a geologist, but he actually resigned as a professor in geology or whatever, and he dedicated his life to the scientific miracles in the Quran. His name, Zaghlul al-Najjar, will display his name. And he said once that the Quran is not only 100% compatible with modern science. The Quran is more advanced than modern science. Now, in this topic about the Big Bang, we have two interesting facts, alarming facts, important facts about how the Quran is more advanced. It's a proof beyond reasonable doubt. No one can have a shadow of a doubt about this fact. First, this is mentioned in 1927 for the first time, discovered by Georges Lemaitre, but mentioned in the Quran in these two verses we just rehearsed to you about 1,450 years ago. So, clearly, the Quran is more advanced than modern science. But there is another fact. I said equally more important. It's even more important. Now, recently, within the last few months, the scientists are saying, cosmologists are actually saying that there was something else there before the Big Bang. The Big Bang is not really the beginning. There was something before. So this something before, we rehearsed to you two verses. In the first verse, the sky and the earth were one mass. What did God say? Kanata. They used to be one mass. They used to be one entity. Allah did not say they didn't exist. They existed under a different form. But God, from that different form, created the universe as we know it. The scientists are slowly coming. And the second verse also, he said, ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى إِلَى السَّمَاءِ وَهِيَ دُخَانٌ. So he directed himself, Allah directed himself to the sky, and it was smoke. So God clearly tells us he directed himself to the sky and it was smoke. It doesn't mean it didn't exist. Now, Brian Cox, and I forgot the name of another scholar, probably an African-American or scholar, but I forgot his name. But they're saying now, probably among others, I'm not knowledgeable in the field, probably among many others, that there was something else before. What does God tell us in these two verses? One, the sky. I repeat, sorry if I repeat too much, but it is highly important to know that the Quran is more advanced than science. And the more science advances, it will only find that the Quran is 10 streets in front, or decades or centuries in front. This is the truth. So, the sky and the earth were one mass. It means they existed before the Big Bang, in a different form, of course, because that's when they were created, and the whole universe with all the galaxies and all the planets, everything were created in the Big Bang. This is, the scientists are correct about this, but now they're saying there was something before. Maybe we made a mistake. Maybe there was some. So now the answer is in these two verses, and I share it with you for the sole fact to understand that Allah is a reality. It's not an imagination of conservative people, as some atheists or whatever say. So one needs to ponder and think about these verses and about the entire Quran and about all the scientific miracles in the Quran, so as to find out the truth about God. There is nothing more important for us than this particular truth, to find out if God really exists or not. And for those who do not believe or follow some other falsehood or whatever, I invite you all to read the Quran, to ponder, to think, to analyze, to take notes, and to decide for yourselves what the truth is. I will end as usual with, I hope I haven't forgotten anything, but I think that's it. I will end as usual with our, in a nutshell, verse which concludes the general topic of the scientific miracles in the Quran. And it is Luqman 31:25. Luqman is the name of the surah. Luqman used to be a pious man, he's not a prophet. And it's 31 is the number, is the surah number 31, 31st surah in the Quran, and the verse number 25. And it goes, وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهِ. If you were to ask them who created the skies and the earth, they would say